Hello guys, welcome back. Myself Assistant Professor Gaurang Prajapati from Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. Now in this video I am going to continue the topic of design of gantry girders of the subject design of steel structures 8th semester civil engineering. In the previous video we have covered the design of gantry girder from step number 1 to step number 7. Okay, now in this one, from step number 1 to step number 6. Now in this one we are going to provide all the checks regarding the gantry girder. So first of all, let's start the data with step number 7, check for moment capacity. Okay, now to check the moment capacity, so we all know that normally bending moment is usually resisted by the flange. Okay, so for that one we need to provide the section classification for the flange, okay, and as well as web. So for that one, table number 2, page number 19. Now the criteria for the flange and web is, we can say, for the plastic and compact section. Let me take you to the code first of all for that one. So just a minute, table number 2, page number 18. See, so first of all, just a minute, for compression flange, okay, and as we are going to design the built up section, so it's a welded section. So for the flange, condition is B by TF is, if it is less than 8.4 epsilon, then it is plastic, and if it is less than 9.4, means it's between 8.4 to 9.4, then it will be the compact section. So that's the criteria for the, we can say, flange. And for the web, then for the web we can say neutral axis at depth d by tw, it is, we can say, 84 epsilon. If it is less than 84 epsilon, then it will be class 1 plastic, and if it is between 84 to 105, then it will be compact section. Okay, so let's cross check these conditions. So now let's do the section classification. First of all, say for flange, B by TF ratio. Now B stands for BF by 2. BF is 450, so 450 by 2, so it will be 2 to 5. Okay, then BF is over here. Let me show you in the sketch. Yeah, this one. BF is 450, so B is this dimension, that is 450 by 2, that's 2 to 5. Clear? So now, and TF, that is thickness of flange, that is 25 mm, that is this one. So now regarding this one, section classification for the flange, B by TF, 2 to 5 divided by 25, so answer comes 9. As it is 9, it is between 8.4 to 9.4. if it is less than 8.4, then we would have called it as a plastic section, but right now it is at 9, so it is in between 8.4 to 9.4, so we can say it's a compact section. So our flanges is of compact section. Now let's go for the web. Say we need to do the ratio of d by tw. Okay, so depth of web, that is, we can say 700, this one, and tw, that is 14. Okay, so 700 by 14, so the answer comes 50, which is less than 84 epsilon, and section is plastic. So ultimately our flange is of compact section while web is of plastic section. So ultimately the overall gantry girder section is, we can say, compact. If both sections are plastic, then we can say the whole section is plastic. Similarly, if the both sections are compact, then the whole section is also compact. But right now one section is compact and one is plastic, so the whole section is, we can say, the compact section. Okay, so that's the section classification for the gantry girder. Now we need to check the local moment capacity. Okay, so for that one, the condition stands for this one, that is mz divided by mdz plus my divided by mdy should be less or equals to 1. Now the unknown parameters in these equations are mz, my, mdz and mdy. So first of all, we already have the value of mz and my in step number 2 and step number 3. Mz 695.87 and my, that is 23.62 kilonewton into meter. Let me show you the data. Say in step number 2 we got the value of mz over here 695.87, and in step number 3 we got the my of the surge load, that is over here. So we have this both values mz as well as my over here. So ultimately two values are already there. So the unknown parameters is mdz and mdy. Now for that one we need to use two formulas from the code. Let me take you to the code. First of all, just a minute. Now just a minute. Now on page number 53, just a minute. Say on page number 53 closes 8.2.1.2. so this is the formula where we can calculate the bending moment capacity of any section, that is over here. So let me zoom the data. Say so first formula is this one, md equals to beta b zp fy by gamma m0, and the second one, that is to avoid the irreversible deformation under the serviceability load, md shall be less than 1.2 ze fy by gamma m0 in case of simply supported, and 1.5 ze fy by gamma m0 in case of the cantilever beam. Okay, right now our cantilever is off, we can say simply supported beam is there. So ultimately we will use this formula 1.2 ze fy by gamma m0, and one formula is this one is the original formula. So we are going to use both these formulas right now for mdz as well as for mdy. So now talking about mdz. So first of all, mdz means moment with respect to zz axis, as we are going to calculate mdz. So with this z, the moment with respect to zz axis, so we can say it is the smaller of mdz1 and mdz2. Okay, now mdz1, so formula as we shown in this close field number 53, beta b zp fy by gamma m0, and mdz2 same close for the simply supported beam, mdz2 equals to 1.2 ze fy by gamma m0. Now in these both formulas, let's talk about the unknown parameters. So first of all, beta b. Okay, so beta b equals to, we can say 1 for plastic and compact section as per this close. So our section is compact, so beta b's value will be 1. Talking about another unknown, that is we can say fy, that is constant 250 newton per mm square, and gamma m0, that's factor of safety, that is 1.10. so only one unknown is there, that is zp. Now as we are going to calculate the moment with respect to zz axis, so ultimately zp will be also zpz, which we have already calculated in the previous step, that is 9.87 into 10 raised to 6. Let me show you zpz over here. You can see, just a minute, zpz 9.87 into 10 raised to 6. So we have these values over here. Okay, so let's put down this value in this formula. So ultimately mdz1 equals to beta b, that is 1, zp 9.87 into 10 raised to 6, fy, that is 250, gamma m0, that is 1.10. By simplifying the term, I will get the answer, that is mdz1 equals to 2243.46 into 10 raised to 6 newton into mm. Let's convert it into kilonewton into meter. 2243.47 kilonewton into meter. Now this moment should be greater than mz, as mz by mdz ratio, it should be less than 1. So obviously mdz should be greater than mz. Okay, mz is 293, it is greater than this one, hence okay, no problem with that one. Now let's talk about mdz2. Once again over here one unknown is as z, but as we are going to calculate moment with respect to zz axis, so z will be also equals to zz. In the previous case also we saw zp equals to zpz. So simple concept is there, as we are calculating moment with respect to zz axis, so both unknown zp equals to zpz as well as z equals to z. Okay, so z is we have already calculated over here. Z is 8.95 into 10 raised to 6. Let's put down this value over here, that is 8.95 into 10 raised to 6 mm cube. Okay, so let's put down this value over here. So 1.2 ZE 8.95 into 10 raised to 6 F5 250 gamma m0 1.10. Okay, by simplifying the term I will get the answer MdZ2, that is 2442.17 into 10 raised to 6 Newton into mm. Let's convert it into kilonewton. 2442.17 kilonewton into meter. It should be greater than mz, that is 293. That's okay. Okay, so finally MdZ equals to minimum of this one, so minimum will be, we can say this one, it should be greater than mz, that is of 293, hence okay. Now similarly we need to calculate, see we have got this value of MdZ. Similarly we need to calculate the same parameters of MdY. So I'm going to use the same formula but with respect to y-axis. See, just a minute, MdY, so moment with respect to y-axis, y-axis, so MdY, so with respect to y-axis, like this. Okay, so for that one, MdY1 formula stands for beta b z. See, it is the same formula which I have used earlier. Just a minute, let me zoom the sketch, zoom in the sketch. See, it is the same formula I am right now using over here. Once again, in MdZ2 also same formula MdY2. The difference is only this one, this was MdZ while this one is MdY. So we are going to calculate each and everything with respect to y-axis in this one, while in the previous case we calculated each and everything with respect to x-axis. That's the only difference. Okay, so we are going to use the same formula, only the difference will be, as we are calculating moment with respect to y-axis, so unknown Zp will be equals to Zpy, as well as in this formula Ze it will be Zy. Okay, we have already calculated this all properties in the previous step. So first of all, beta b1 Zp, that is Zpy. So let me show you Zpy over here, 1.27 into 10 raised to 6. So see this one. So let's put down the value in the formula. Beta b1 Zp 1.27 into 10 raised to 6 F5, that is 250, and gamma m0 1.10. By simplifying the term we will get the answer MdY, that is 287.64 into 10 raised to 6 Newton into mm. So let's convert it into kilonewton. 287.64 kilonewton into meter, and it should be greater than my, that was 4.87, which is greater than that one, and it's okay, no problem with that one. Similarly MdY2 1.2 ZeF5 by gamma m0. Okay, in this one unknown is Z equals to Zy, as we are going to design with respect to y-axis. That means we use Zy over here. Yeah, you can see 0.84 into 10 raised to 6. So 0.84 into 10 raised to 6. Let's put down this value over here. 0.84 into 10 raised to 6 F5 250. This one is 1.2 and gamma m0 1.10. By simplifying the term I will get the answer 230.11 into 10 raised to 6 Newton into mm. So let's convert it into kilonewton into meter. It should be greater than my. Oh, okay, over here just one printing mistake is there. My is I have shown it over here, it is 23.62. okay, so this both answers should be greater than 23.62. okay, which is quite greater than 23.62. yeah, okay, printing mistake is there in this one. Okay, right now our both conditions are getting satisfied, and it's okay. So finally MdY equals to smaller answer of this one. Obviously smaller answer will be, we can say 230. So MdY, that is 230.11, which is greater than my, and it's okay. Finally check for the local combined capacity. So our MdZ is, see, we have already value of mz and my in step number 2 and step number 3, this one, and we have calculated MdZ and MdY over here. MdZ this one, and MdY, that is this one. Clear? Finally let's put down the value. mz 695.87 on MdZ 2243.47, my 23.62, and MdY 230.11. By simplifying the term we will get the answer 0.31 and 0.10. okay, so ultimately our answer will be, we can say 0.41, which is less than 1, hence okay, our conditions are getting satisfied for that one. Okay, so that was step number 8, in which we have carried out the check for the moment capacity. Now step number 8, check for the buckling resistance. Now in the buckling resistance also we need to clarify the same check as biaxial bending, that is this one, mz divided by mdz plus my divided by mdy should be less or equals to 1, where we already have the value of mz and my over here. So ultimately we need to calculate mdz and mdy. So for that one, first of all we will calculate mdy. So moment with respect to obviously y axis as it is y. Okay, so formula, mdy's formula will be this one, that is zy fi by gamma m0. Now as we are going to calculate with respect to y axis, so zy equals to, that is zy. We already have the value of zy in step number 6, 0.84 into 10 raised to 6. Let's put down this value over here, that is 0.84 into 10 raised to 6 zy, fy that is 250 and gamma m0 that is 1.10. By simplifying the term, we will get the answer 191.76 into 10 raised to 6 Newton into mm. So it is greater than kilonewton into meter, and it should be greater than 23.62. That's the answer. Okay, so we already have got the value of mdy. Now in order to calculate the mdz, we need to solve the parameters regarding mdz. Now for that one we need to use the code for this one, page number 54. mdz, moment with respect to z axis. The formula stands for this one as per this clause, that is beta b zp fbd. Okay, now beta b, that is always one for plastic and compact section as per page number 53 criteria, and zp. So as we are calculating mdz with respect to zz axis, so zp equals to zpz. So that is 9.87 into 10 raised to 6. We have already calculated this in step number 6. Now the only unknown pattern is fbd. For that one we need to go to this close. Okay, let's go to the close. See on page number 54 you can see the clause 8.2.2. md equals to beta b zp fbd. Okay, now unknown patterns, that is we can say fbd. We already have the value of beta b and zp. Now in order to calculate fbd, we can calculate fbd with respect to in two different methods. See, first of all we can say unknown is fbd. Okay, so fbd, it is given over here in this clause. See, either we can calculate design bending, fbd means design bending compressive strength, obtained as given below. See table 13a and 13b. Either we can use this method. From the table, by interpolation method we will get the value of fbd, or else if we don't want to use the table, then fbd's formula is there, that is xld fy by gamma m0, where unknown is xld is over here, that is 1 upon 5ld in the bracket 5lt square minus lambda lt square whole raised to 0.5 should be less or equals to 1. In this one unknown is 5lt. Okay, so 5lt is over here, that is 0.5 in the bracket 1 plus alpha lt in the bracket lambda lt minus 0.2 plus lambda lt square. In this one the unknown is lambda lt. You can calculate lambda lt over here. This formula is root of beta b zp fy by mcr, or we can say fcy by fcrb. We can use any one of this formula, this one or this one. Okay, so in this one fcrb and mcr are known. So fcrb and mcr, the formulas are given over here. This one is the formula of mcr, you can see, or we can say it is beta b zp fbd, or fcrb, that is this one. Okay, so this is a quite much long method. So instead of using this long method, let's use the formula which is given to us over here, that we can use the table number 13a and 13b. So let's go to the table number 13a, 30b. So 13a, now 13a is for, we can say, see, design bending compressive stress corresponding to lateral buckling fbd for alpha ld 0.21, and over here 13b, same table is there for alpha lt 0.39. So now we should decide that which the value of alpha lt, either it is 0.21 or 0.49. So it is given over here in the same clause, that alpha lt equals to 0.21 for roll section and 0.49 for welded section. Okay, we are designing as a built up section, so our section will be welded section, that is 0.49. So we are going to use table number 13b. So in table number 13b, for alpha lt equals to 0.49, Now this one is our Fy is 250 Newton per mm square, and the unknown parameter is FCRB. So first of all we need to calculate this FCRB. Okay, so FCRB's formula is given to us over here on page number 54. You can see this one. Formula stands for this one, 1.1 pi square E divided by LLD bar y square in the bracket 1 plus 1 by 20 in the bracket LLD bar y divided by HF by TF whole raised to square whole raised to 0.5. Now this one is the formula which we are going to use. Once we get the value of FCRB, then using the table number 13b we can directly calculate the value of FBD. Clear? So first of all let's calculate the unknown patterns and calculate FCRB for that one. Let's go back to the design. So now our formula stands for, as I told you, beta b zp fbt, this one. So we have the value of beta b and zp, beta b1 zp equals to zpz, that is this one. Now in order to calculate the fbd, first of all we need to calculate this value fcrb. Now talking about the unknown parameters. So unknown parameters, so first of all LLD will be unknown, RY will be unknown, HF unknown, TF unknown. These are the unknown parameters which we need to solve. So first of all let's solve the unknown parameters. First LLD. LLD stands for span of the gantry girder. Span of gantry girder is 6.2 meter, so we can say 6200 mm. So LLD is problem solved. Now next the value is RY. RY stands for radius of gyration, root of I by A, where I stands for moment of inertia with respect to y axis. We have already calculated this property in step number 6. And area, that is area of gantry girder, same property has been calculated in step number 6. Okay, let me take you step number 6. So first of all area, that is area of gantry girder 32300, while we can say IYY, just a minute, that is over here 0.38, and over here area. So we have both the values. So let's calculate RY, root of I by A. See, I by 0.38 into 10 is to 9, area 32300, this one. So ultimately answer will be 108.44 mm. So that's the value of RY. Okay, so we have got the LLD 6200, RY 108.44. so let's calculate their ratio. So LLD by RY, that is over here 6200 divided by 108.54, so ultimately ratio will be 57.17. that's LLD by RY. Now next unknown, that is HF by TF. So first of all HF means center to center distance between two flanges. Okay, let me take you to the sketch. Okay, HF means these dimensions, from over here to here, center to center dimension. So 700 mm depth of web, then this one is 25 by 2, this one is 25 by 2. So ultimately it will be 12.5, over here also 12.5, and the central portion is of 700. So ultimately it will be, we can say 725. Okay, that's the HF, and TF, that is 25. So see, HF, center to center distance between two flanges, TF by 2 plus D plus TF by 2, so it is 725. Okay, then E, modulus of elasticity, that is 2 into 10 raised to 5, and TF. So first of all HF by TF, 725 divided by 25, 725 by 25, so answer is 29. So let's calculate this ratio also. So LLD by RY divided by HF by TF, 57.17 divided by 29. Okay, over here once again printing mistake is there, sorry for that one. 57.17 divided by 29, so our answer will be 1.97. that's the ratio. So now let's put down all this value in this formula. So FCRB equals to 1.1 pi square E, that is 2 into 10 raised to 5, divided by LLD by RY square, that is 29 square, in the bracket 1 plus 1 by 20 into the whole ratio LLD by RY divided by HF by TF square, that is 1.97 square whole to 0.5. By simplifying the term I will get the FCRB 725.95 Newton per mm square. but FCRB is not the term which we need the term FBD. Now in order to calculate FBD, we need to use this value as a interpolation method, FCRB. So 725.95. okay, so just a minute. Okay, let's go to the table number 13B. Table number 13B, our answer has come 725.95. so ultimately it will be interpolation, okay, between, just a minute, yeah. See, now it will be between 700 to 800. Our FCRB value is 725.95. that's the value of FCRB. Now our Fy, that is 250. So at 800 and at 700 we have these values. At 700 it is 177.3 and at 800 it is at 181.3. okay, so by interpolation, by the difference of 100, we will get the difference 181.8 minus 177.3. so at the difference of 100 I will get the value of 4.5. so at 100 the difference is 4.5. so our 725.95 value was there. So at the difference of, we can say 25.95, it is how much? So it will be 1.17. so now 700 to 800 value is getting increased. As you can see over here, value is getting increased. So add this 1.17 into 1773. so 1773 plus 1.17. so ultimately total answer is 178.46. okay, that will be our final answer, or we can say 47 Newton per mm square. So by interpolation method we can easily get this value. Okay, so 178.47 Newton per mm square. So from the value of FCRB 725.97 Newton per mm square and Fy 250 Newton per mm square, by interpolation method for alpha LT equals to 0.49 for the welded section, I can easily get this value using the reference table 13B page number 15.6. so once we get the value of FCRB, now we can easily calculate MDZ. so MDZ equals to beta B ZP FBD. Beta B, that is 1, ZPZ 9.87 into 10 raised to 6 and FBD 178.47. by simplifying the term I will get the answer 1767.7 kilonewton into Newton into mm. so let's convert it into kilonewton into meter. It should be greater than mz, which is greater than 293.41, hence okay. So now let's put down this value in this formula. so mz 695.87, mdz 1761.7, my 23.62 and mdy, that is 191.76. by simplifying the term we will get the answer 0.51, which is less than 1, hence okay. Okay, so these are the criteria. Now in this example which is asked in the examination of, just a minute, let me check. Just a minute, May 2019. okay, now what they ask that we need to check design, choose the suitable section, and we need to check the bending stresses. We already checked the bending stress over here, and deflection. We need to provide only the deflection check, but for the practice purpose I have provided all the checks over here. So over here I have given one notation over here. In this example, step number 9, 10 and 11 have not been asked in the data, though for the practice purpose I have provided these data. So first of all, step number 9, check for shear. Now for shear check we have already used this formula in the plate girder also. Okay, just a minute, page number 3. VD equals to Vn by gamma, page number 59, we are on the page number 59, clause number 8.4. okay, VD equals to Vn by gamma m0, where Vn equals to Vp and Vp equals to this formula AVFIW by root 3. So ultimately formula will become VD equals to AVFIW divided by root 3 gamma m0. This is the standard formula for checking shear of any structural member. Okay, let's use this formula. And on page number 53, the formula which we use for the moment MD, in that one the same statement is given. We can use the maximum shear, that is up to 60% only. So maximum shear is 0.6 times VD. okay, so we need to calculate this VD term over here. Just a minute. So first of all, VD AVFI divided by root 3 gamma mw. Unknown AV stands for the shear area. So for built up section, shear area is nothing, we can say the area of the wave, that is d multiplied by tw. Depth of wave is 700, thickness of wave is 14. So ultimately answer is 9800. Let's put down this value over here in this formula. So AV 9800, FI 250, root 3 gamma m0 1.10. By simplifying the term, we will get the answer 1285.92 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Okay, let's convert it into kilonewton, that is multiplied by 10 raised to minus 3. So now we need to calculate the 0.6 times VD, this one. So let's calculate 0.6 times VD, 0.6 multiplied by this term. So by simplifying the term, we will get the answer 771.55 kilonewton. Okay, so what does this indicate? The wave which we have designed 700 cross 14 mm, it can maximum resist the shear force of 771.55 kilonewton, and our shear requirement criteria was VZ 589.98 in step number 3. Let me show you. Yeah, see, 589.98. clear? So our strength is quite greater than that one, hence okay, the section is safe in the shear. Clear? So this one is the check for the shear. Now next, that is check for the local buckling of wave, step number 10. This check also I have not been asked in the data, but for buckling resistance on page number 67, this formula is given to us, that is FCDW equals to B1 plus N1 whole multiplied by TW into FCD. Let me take you to the code for that one. See, on page number 67, close number over here, load cutting stiffener, 8.7.3. now in that one the formula stands for FCDW, that is over here, the formula is given over here, B1 plus N1 whole multiplied by TW, and we need to solve this one using the curve C. Curve C means nothing, we can say design compressive strength FCD. okay, where unknown parameters B1 stiff bearing length and N1 dispersion of the load through the 45 degree to the half the depth of the cross section, means N1 is always, we can say 2 times half the depth of the cross section, 2 times d by 2. So ultimately N1 equals to d, depth of the gantry girder. okay, so let's calculate this parameter. So first of all, this formula as per this clause 8.7.3, page number 67, unknown parameters B1, that is width of stiff bearing length, that is always assumed as 150 mm. N1 as we discussed 2 times d by 2, ultimately depth, overall depth of the gantry girder, that is 750. Then TW, thickness of wave, that is 14 mm. So all three unknowns are there, only the problem is with the FCD. okay, so FCD means design compressive strength. So in order to calculate design compressive strength, we always used to find the slenderness ratio, that is KL by RY. Formula stands for 2.43 times d by TW, and over here I have shown its derivation. KL equals to 0.7 times d as per this clause. RY, that is radius of gyration, TW by root 12, So once we do the KL by RY ratio, 0.7 d by TW divided by root 12, by simplifying the term I will get the answer 2.43 times d by TW. In the exam you do not need to show this one, you can directly use this formula. So 2.43 times d, depth of wave 700, TW 14, so ultimately I will get the answer 121.5. Now by using the table number 9c, I can directly calculate FCD from this one, 121.5. Just a minute. Now table number 9c, page number 42. Okay, over here you can see table number 9c for the buckling class C. Okay, FCD, that is, you can see over here FCD. Now 121.5, that means it is the interpolation between 120 to 150, sorry 130. Fy, that is 250. This one is KL by RY ratio. So in the line of 250, 120 and 130. Just a minute. KL by RY, that is our 121.5. So it is in the range of 120 to 130. Fy, that is 250. So our answer will be this one. At 120 83.7, and at 130 it is 74.3. So at the difference of 10 I will get the value of 9.4. Now we need to carry out this 1.5 extra, so at 1.5 it is how much? So I will get the value 1.41. so answer will be 1.41, this one of this 1.5. so I need to deduct this one from the 120's value, that is 83.7, because as slenderness ratio increases, value is decreasing. So 83.7 minus 1.41, so I will get the answer 82.29. so that's the interpolation of KL by ratio 121.5. okay, this is the normal interpolation method. See, so KL by RY ratio 121.5 and Fy 250. Using the interpolation table 9c, page 42, I will get the answer 82.29. Once I get this one, now I can easily calculate FCDW. B1, that is 150, N1 750, TW thickness of wave 14, and FCD, that is 82.29. From this one I will get the value of FCDW 1036.85 into 10 raised to 5 Newton, sorry 10 raised to 3 Newton. Let's convert it into kilonewton. So this FCDW should be greater than maximum factor load, that is wheel load, which we have already derived in step number 1, 383 kilonewton. Let me just show you this one in step number 1. Yeah, over here we have got the design load over here, wheel load, that is 383 kilonewton. So our FCDW will be greater than this one. Yeah, it is 1036, which is greater than 383, and it's okay, the buckling resistance is satisfactory. Okay, and then step number 11, that is design of wheel. Now we need to join the member flange with respect to wave. Okay, so for that one we are providing the regular criteria, horizontal shear force per mm length. We usually provide the fillet weld on each side of the wave. So for that one, QW's criteria, the normal criteria for the strength of weld, QW equals to VFY by divided by twice IZ. This is the same parameters which we were used in plate girder. So first of all, V, that is maximum shear force, already we have calculated in step number 3, 589.98. AF, area of flange, 450 multiplied by 25, that's the dimension of flange, we will get the area 11250. Then Y bar, then we can say it is the CG of flange with respect to central ZZ axis. and this one moment of inertia with respect to x-axis. We have all these values. Okay, let me show you the value. First of all, Izz, that is in step number 6 we got the value of Izz over here, 3.36 into 10 raised to 9 mm raised to 4. Then y bar, and it will be from the center of flange to the zz axis, this one, this dimension. So it is tf by 2, and this one is d by 2, 350, and this one will be 12.5. so 25 by 2 plus we can say 700 by 2, that will be y bar. Okay, so as we have calculated all the values, let's put down the value over here. See, tf by 2, that is 25 by 2 plus 700 by 2, 362.5. and Izz, we have already calculated Izz in step number 6. Okay, so now let's put down this all value. V, 589.98 into 10 raised to 3, area of flange 112500, sorry, y bar, that is 362.5, and Izz 336.9, 10 into 10 raised to 9 multiply by 2. So by simplifying the term, I will get the answer 358.25 Newton per mm. Let's convert it into kilonewton per meter, multiply by 10 raised to minus 3. So this one is the strength which is required to connect the flange with the wave. Now against this one we can provide the strength of weld per mm. That's the standard criteria. P equals to LW TT FWD as per this clause. Unknown parameters. LW per mm means it is 1 mm. TT, throw thickness, for that one we need to design the size of weld, that is usually taken as 3 to 6 mm. I am taking the maximum as 6 mm. So TT equals to 0.7 into S, so 0.7 into 6, so it will be 4.2. I am talking about FWD, that is 158 for field welding and 189 for soft welding. I am assuming the maximum, that is 189, that is this one. Okay, so by simplifying the term, I will get the answer P equals to LW1 TT 4.2 and FWD, that is 189. So by simplifying the term, I will get the answer 793.8 Newton per mm. So let's convert it into kilonewton per mm, that is 0.793. So this is the strength which we are providing, and it should be greater than QW, that is this one, 0.358, which is greater than that one, and it's okay. We can provide 6 mm side fillet weld on both sides of the wave. But in this example, as I told you, step number 9, 10 and 11, these steps have not been asked. I am just providing you this one for the education purpose only, for the practice purpose. And now lastly, step number 12, that is check for deflection. This step has been asked. So in order to provide the check for deflection, what we need to do, we need to put the crane girder exactly on the center of gantry girder. Let me show you in the sketch, just a minute. Over here you can see we are putting this crane girder exactly on the center, because in case of, our gantry girder is simply supported beam, and we all know that maximum deflection always occur at the center. So let's put down this both two wheels, this wheel and this wheel. Okay, that's at the center. So we can calculate the maximum deflection which is getting produced over there, and how much deflection is, we can say, permissible for that one as per the code. So first of all, let's calculate the deflections criteria. So for that one, what I am doing, that, just a minute, this one is the span of gantry girder, 6.2 meter. Okay, now I am putting down this one exactly at the center. So what I am doing, that we can say at the center it is 3.1 meter. Now wheelbase is 3 meters, so 1.5 and 1.5. So I will get this location of these two load, and the remaining distance will be this one, 1.6, 1.6 out of, we can say, 3.1. Once we deduct 1.5, it will be 1.6. Okay, or else you can directly calculate A equals to this formula, L minus C by 2, where L stands for span 6.2, C, that is wheelbase, 3 meter, 6.2 minus 3 by 2, 3.2 by 2, that is 1.6 meter. Let's convert it into mm, 1600. Clear? So we will get this arrangement. So now our deflections formula will be this one, delta C equals to WL cube upon 6AI in the bracket 3A divided by 4L minus A cube by L cube. Okay, so let's talk about the unknown parameters W. So W means we can say the working load, that was load on each wheel. We have already calculated this one in the step number 1, that is 201.17. Let me show you. Load on each wheel will be this one 204.07. okay. So let's talk about the unknown parameters. Just a minute. Yeah. So W, that is working load. Then L, that is span of gantry girder, 6.2 meter or 6200. A, we have already calculated, L minus C by 2, 1600 mm. Then another unknown, that is we can say C, wheelbase, that is we have already calculated for this one, 3 meter. E, that is 2 into 10 raised to 5. And the last unknown, that is I, that is moment of inertia with respect to z axis. In the step number 6 we have already calculated this one. Now let's put down all this value in this formula. So W, 201.17 into 10 raised to 3. L, that is 6200 divided by 6. E, that is 2 into 10 raised to 5. I, that is 3.36 into 10 raised to 9. And over here 3a minus 4l, that is 3 times A, that is 1600. So 3 times A divided by 4 times L, 6200 minus A cube minus L cube. By simplifying the term I will get the delta C, that is 2.13. means it is the maximum deflection which is getting produces if I am putting the crane girder exactly on the center of gantry girder. Now against of this one, how much deflection is permissible as per the code. Now as we are designing the EOT crane girder, okay. Now EOT crane girder is acting on the, we can say, on gantry girder. Now the its self height is, we can say, self height is given to us in the data. Just a minute. Capacity will be given to us. See, crane capacity, that is 260 kilonewton. So let's go to the code. In the code, table number 6, page number 31, the deflection criteria are given to us. See, now in this one you can see table number 6, deflection limits. Now in this one, just a minute, yeah, over here for EOT crane girder up to 50 ton, one means 500 kilonewton. For 500 kilonewton capacity, the deflection criteria is spanned by 750. Okay, I'm going to use this one. So permissible deflection as per this clause, that is span by 750. So L by 750, L is 6200 divided by 750. So answer comes 8.27. So what does this indicate? That as per the code, the maximum permissible deflection is 8.27 mm, which is greater than requirement. And okay, so deflection criteria has been satisfied. Okay, so finally this is the design of the gantry girder. Hope so you have got all the concept. Myself, Assistant Professor Gaurang Prajapati, signing off.